All right, hi everyone. Larry here with Oksana, and we are excited to have our good friend and colleague, Mr. Paul Hoffman, with us, who is an expert in sound healing technology. He has developed an amazing technology that allows you to tune your brain into a meditative state very quickly, and he's also an expert in getting shit done.
Yes, getting shit done, exactly right. That's the optimal word, shit done. Absolutely, yes.
So today we're going to talk a little bit about doing exactly that, getting shit done. If you're watching this, it's likely 2014, and I know you've made a lot of resolutions, and we're going to help you achieve those resolutions, and we're going to have a conversation around barriers to getting results and what you've learned in your life. And,
absolutely.
Why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself?
Well, it's great to be here with my good friends Larry and Oksana, who are two remarkable people, and people that I follow and I learn from. And you know, I always call Larry when I need some help with health, and I talk to Oksana about a lot of different things too. So a little bit about me, just real quickly. You know, I've had an interesting life. I went to college on a basketball scholarship. For those sports people. For the non-sports people, I was in the rock and roll world for many years, culminating as the tour manager for Pink Floyd, which is an interesting thing. Then I got into the jingle business, which is writing music for advertising. I wrote a little famous ditty called "Have You Driven a Ford Lately? Have you driven a Ford lately?" And
I know that one.
that one allowed me to make a lot of money, become really very successful in that world, but it also got me into creating a very much of a downward cycle in my life. I became a drug and alcohol abuser. I had a $2,500 a week cocaine habit, and I drank a fifth of vodka a day. Now, I say that, I had a lot of fun doing it, but I say that because what happened is after about 10 years of doing that, I spiraled down so far that on the last day that I ever used a drug or had a drink, I was put into a straitjacket and taken to a psych ward at a very upscale New York hospital, and I got sober. And I've been sober now 25 years. And I tell you that not because maybe some of you haven't had that experience, but everyone has had some kind of an experience in their life where they've gone through some kind of a challenge, they've gone through some kind of a problem, you know, they've been faced with some kind of adversity. And the truth of the matter is, those are really good things, because what happens is they help you grow and transform. And unless you can actually recognize where you're doing things in your life that are totally sabotaging your behaviors, totally sabotaging what it is that you want to create in your life, you're going to continue to do the things over and over and over. And as Larry mentioned, one of the things that I decided that I was going to do in my life was I was going to really learn how and why the most successful people in the world do the things that they do, and how your brain and your mind, this thing right between your ears, how that controls everything that you do. Because how you think is how you believe. Now that might be a cliche you might have heard before, but the truth of the matter is you can control your mind. You can control the thoughts that you think, you can control the actions that you take, you can control the choices that you're going to make, but you need to sometimes learn how to do that. And it's all based around the work that I do, which is about creating mindsets of success, but it's about creating rituals and habits. Now before we got on this camera, you know, I've learned a lot about health, okay? Again, I was a $2,500 a week, fifth of vodka a day, unhealthy, right, unhealthy, to now I have an amazing ritual I do every day that helps me stay in optimal health, because if I'm in optimal health and my body is in its best state, then my mind is in its best state, because it's mind, body, and spirit. Yeah. And so I learned some stuff today when I just came over here from Larry, because when I talk to these guys about health, they're on top of it. They know the latest and the greatest. And so you got to just do things that help you. So that's who I am.
It's all, I mean, it all comes back to having the right tools in order to utilize them in the way that you need to utilize them,
absolutely,
right? To move forward, to advance,
yeah,
to optimize whatever direction you're on.
Exactly. So some people have to hit rock bottom.
Absolutely.
Right? And
those are
and
necessary.
hopefully you're not in that place. If you are, then this will help you, this conversation will help you get to the point where you hit rock bottom.
I did.
It's not all lost.
What was the thing that helped you go from that place to where you are today, that one thing?
Well, the one thing was I just realized that, you know, I was responsible for the choices I made in my life. And so everything that I did up until hitting rock bottom was designed both consciously and unconsciously for me to hit rock bottom, because everything I did led toward there. Yeah. And so what I did after I got sober was I realized that, you know, I can just reverse that strategy and begin to do things that were just in my best interest.
Yeah, I believe whatever happens in your life, you actually orchestrate it. You know, there's a saying, everything happens for a reason.
Absolutely.
One of my good friends said, everything happens for a reason you create. So you created the situation that now you're at this place where you need help.
Absolutely.
Right? So there are tools available to allow you to go from, whether you're at rock bottom or you're spiraling down or you're doing okay, how do you achieve those goals that you want to hit, you know, in 2014 and beyond, and get to that next level. So you have some tools in your arsenal that
in my arsenal, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 2014 is the year for me to create transformational habit, and I think we can all do that together. So the thing that I think works, you know, is most important is, first of all, knowing what you want in your life, okay, and then the next question is, you know, why do you want it? And once you can answer those two questions, then at least you can begin to wrap your mind around what you need to do to make it happen. Most people come up with great ideas. Now, each and every one of us, it's 2014 now, we're all going to have what the world sometimes calls New Year's resolutions. Well, I call them New Year's disillusions. Because the truth of the matter is, you could have all the freaking resolutions you want. If you're not going to change your mindset, you're not going to get through anything. And so what you need to do is I teach people about creating daily rituals which lead to success habits, because habits drive everything. And so I have a couple of different ways I do that. I do that through coaching and training. I have a program called Day Sculpting, which is a 90-day program that teaches you how to create success one day at a time by focusing on doing three things, the three things that you're good at, to get what I call your chief aim. Some people might call that a goal. I call it a chief aim, because if you're aiming towards something, you have a target. And like an archer, when they're learning how to hit the bullseye, as long as you're hitting the target, you're eventually going to hit the bullseye. So it's about repetition, it's about practice, it's about mastery. And then I have another discipline that I do, which is part of my Day Sculpting program as well, which is I have a brain entrainment technology I developed, which is around binaural beat, heartbeat, and breathing patterns, and the 5 different brain entrainment levels: alpha, beta, theta, gamma, and delta. And my work is designed to help you shift your brain waves, shift your brain state, you know, reset, rewire, and recode how you think in as little as 5 minutes.
I know, it is so amazing. I mean, think about every morning, how many of you can relate to this? Waking up, feeling like crap, you know, it's like, oh man, I got so much to do. I got a family to take care of, what work to go to, you know, whatever, study, whatever that is. And you just don't feel like doing anything. So imagine utilizing the tools, and all you need is about 5, 10, 15 minutes. And your brain completely shifts, and you're like, okay, I get it. All right, now I can move on with my day, do what I wanted to do. And then when you do it more and more and more, it's not only just becomes part of your life, it becomes part of who you are. So any mornings that you're waking up and not feeling like doing anything, they just don't exist anymore. It's not yours anymore. So you're basically leaving, you know, the baggage that holds you back somewhere, whatever. You give it up.
And
so
like
having these tools, it's amazing.
And repetition.
Oh, yes, exactly.
Like the lifestyle that we lead now is not by accident.
It's not.
You know, it didn't just happen overnight.
Yeah,
No.
it's something that, you know, slowly, it's slow progression, because anything that, you know, that we want to overcome, we have to take baby steps, and we need something to help.
You do not want to jump in.
Yeah, it took us many years to get to this point where we can wake up and be like, okay, we have a habit, we have a ritual now of getting up, making a smoothie, you know, starting off the day right, having a meditation practice, and then moving forward. But it wasn't always like that.
Absolutely not. And one of the biggest things that most people have, and including me, by the way, so anything I'm telling you, and I know anything that Larry and Oksana tell you, is, you know, we go through this every day. The truth of the matter is, life's an either-or principle. Okay, either you're going to do it or you're not. Period. It's not rocket science. And like Oksana says, you know, you get up in the morning and maybe you're in a funk. You don't know, you know, whatever, you know,
overwhelmed with life.
Whatever it could be. The truth of the matter is, you can shift that. You can either choose to stay in the funk, or you can choose to get out of it. And some of the tools that I teach, and obviously some of the stuff that these guys do, can help you do that. And so, but everything comes from the mindset and the consciousness that you're allowing into your being. Right. You know, you have the ability, you have the power of choice, okay? So if you're going to make if you're going to choose something, I always tell people, choose in your favor, okay? Because your inner reality is always going to create your outer circumstance. And if you get caught up in that crap, then you know what? At the end of the day, you'll keep saying to yourself, why does my life still look like it looks?
Exactly. It's your life, and I know some people call it being selfish, but it's not. It's being self-loving, self-caring, self-giving person, first and foremost to yourself. This is your life. You're the master of it. Create the master that you want to be.
Absolutely.
And people want to be you.
That's a beautiful way to say it.
Energy flows where attention goes.
Absolutely.
So if your attention is on the negative, it's going to be pushing you down, and you're going to be giving up your power.
Absolutely.
And as you were saying, what you were saying just now about making these choices, you have the choice to either keep the power and accentuate it and do the positive things. That's a choice. Or you could choose to give up your power and go the other direction.
By it.
Right.
Exactly. So you could either go it alone and try to do it, by yourself and make the mistakes, or you could learn from people like Paul, who's developed a program through trial and error and through your journey through life
experiences.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
So you created this thing that actually helps move you along the path of creating these daily rituals.
It's interesting. I ask myself all the time, because I'm always interested in recognizing the patterns that I have in my life, because my patterns create the beliefs that I have, and the beliefs that I have create the actions I take. It's my life. And so I'm always kind of looking at where I'm doing things that aren't truly in alignment with what my higher purpose is, because we all have a higher purpose. We all have a gift. What I do, only I do. What he does, he does. Everybody out there who's watching this, you have a gift, and your job, okay, so if you choose to take it, is to share that gift in the most powerful way that you can. And so just imagine, you get up in the morning, success in life, whether it's health, business, relationships, self-growth, whatever it might be, takes work. And so you got to be able to do this. You got to be able to give yourself permission to commit to something, right? And unless you do that, you're never going to get to the next phase in your life. When I got a basketball scholarship, and I use this metaphor in everything I do. I was really good in high school. I was really, really good in high school. And then I went to a Division I college, and you can just apply this to anything in your life. Then I went to a Division I college, and I walked onto the basketball court the first day of practice. Now, I have a full boat scholarship, okay? I walked down the court and I said, these guys are good, right? And so I had a choice. Either I could step up my game or not. And I didn't. I didn't step up my game because at that point in my life, I didn't realize what I needed to do. And so it's really important for you to never get held back by a circumstance, or never get held back by a limiting belief, or never get held back by what somebody else thinks that you need to do. Because you can do anything you want to do. You just, like Oksana says, you just need to have some tools to help you get there. So when you get up in the morning, okay, trust me, there ain't nobody that needs to talk to you at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning if you get up early. Okay, so take the first 30 minutes of your day for you, and set yourself up for success. Because if you don't, you're going to set yourself up for failure. And failure is okay, by the way, because that's how you're going to learn. But unless you give yourself the choice and the chance to do that, you're going to just, like the hamster keeps going around and keep going around and keep going around.
And that's a fact. and the thing is, the lessons repeat themselves
until they're learned.
And they just continue to go and go.
Absolutely.
So what was it that inspired you to create the Sculptations?
The Sculptations program, I did I've been in the music business a lot, so I use music a lot in what I do. I have a company called Success Songs. I write these songs that inspire people to take action in their life by changing their mindsets, behaviors, and beliefs. And I've always been a person who meditated. Now, I view meditation from a different level than maybe some people do. I look at it as being able to tune into what's already going on within you, because you already have what you need right now. You just got to connect to it. And so I created this process called Sculptations, which is really like a personal development, success tool, law of attraction process that's both guided and non-guided. And I do them in 5, 10, 15, and 30-minute versions. And the reason I did that was because we're all busy. And so a lot of people have an excuse that I just don't have time. Okay, well, the truth of the matter is you do have time, because if you did what I did and looked at your patterns and behaviors, you'd realize you waste a lot of time. Okay, but sometimes you're just unconscious to it. And so I created this platform, so within 5 minutes, if I only have 5 minutes, I'm listening to one of my tracks, one of my Sculptations audios, and it'll shift my brainwaves. So I have them on sleep, okay? You know, sleep's important. You know, to get a restful night's sleep is one of the most important things you need to do in your life, because it sets you up for the next day. How many of you, like last night, I had a pretty good night's sleep. The night before I slept awful, even though I listened to my Sculptations. I just had a lot of things going on. So I have them in a lot of different areas, and the reason that I created the program was I realized that music is a universal language. So the music that I write is awesome, okay, if I don't say so myself. The visualization process is really, really empowering. It's not a lot of flowery stuff, although that's fine if you like that, but it's really, I meet you where you are, and I take you to where you need to jump off and fly and do your thing. And then it's got precision affirmations involved with it. It's got a subliminal guided imagery. It's got this brain entrainment technology and this real cool music. And I found that if I could get myself totally out of my head and into my heart, if you will, by listening to these things every day, then what happens is my life starts to take on a different view. It's expanded. I get to see things differently. Opportunities start showing up. I get to see them when they show up. And so the process really became, after I got into the music world and just realized how powerful music was as a language. Because listen, I remember I don't know if any, you know, maybe I'm dating myself, but you know, there's a band called Led Zeppelin out there, and I'm sure some people know who they are. I remember when they had the song called "Whole Lot of Love." Man, I couldn't hear that song enough because it created an emotional feeling in me. And that's what these tracks do. They really do. They create a whole mind, body, spirit.
They just make you feel so good.
Connection.
Yeah. Well, I can empathize with the music. It's been a staple my whole life.
Absolutely.
It's something that I go to every time as like an anchor. If I'm feeling down or whatever, I just throw on the music that I enjoy.
Great word, man. Anchor. It's a great. That's anchor.
I don't think we have a day that there's no music in the house. That's weird.
Yeah, and I'm either listening to something that helps me grow, whether it's a talk, or I have music on that lifts me up, and it's an anchor and a trigger to help me feel good. And what happens is, like we were talking about brainwaves before, most of the time, most of us are in beta.
Yeah.
You know, we're in this constant go, and in beta, what happens? Cortisol races through your body.
Right. What
happens when cortisol races through your body? You gain weight. You're in this fight or flight mode. Your body thinks you're running out, you know, from a bear. So, you know, once you put that music on, that brings you back to alpha.
That's right.
And when you're in alpha, you're in this like relaxed,
peaceful
creative,
mode,
open state. You're feeling open and love.
It's more receptive. You're in a more receptive state, you know. And you know, Larry, the anchor thing is important. You know, anytime you can find something that really works for you, that really helps you shift a behavior or shift a belief, or, you know, anchor in what it is that created that, because you want to do more of that stuff. I call them highlights of your day.
Or even going back to that, you know. I mean, it's great when you can create the new ones and always, you know, up them up, but having at least something that you can always go back to, like, and brings you back to that state, to that feeling good. It will erase all the other crap that you really don't need to hold on to.
Right. You know, and again, the truth of the matter is, you know, it's all about how you set yourself up every day. It's all about how you know, success happens one day at a time, by the way, okay? And I say that because I want you to really understand that concept. You can't worry about tomorrow, because what you do today is going to determine what you do tomorrow. You can't worry about yesterday and be like, you know, Sana a little while ago talked about baggage. Leave the baggage from yesterday behind, but learn the lesson from yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay? But today is what you got. You know, all I have right now, ladies and gentlemen, is me in front of you, talking to you, and being with these two amazing people. This moment is all I got. Yeah. And so I'm going to make the best of this moment. And so success is going to happen to you just one day at a time. And if you can just wrap your head around that concept, then you'll begin to start doing these things that you need to do. Getting up in the morning and setting yourself up for success. Okay, going through your day, and then as you get through your day, midday, and you know, midday we all drift, don't we? I mean, come on, you know, we're tired, whatever happens up, you know, distractions. I mean, we live in a world of distractions, okay? So what happens is, you know, you've got to be able to bring yourself back to center, you know, and so in my day sculpting program, I bring you back to center, because science has proven that if you stop between 3 to 5 minutes, midday, wherever you're doing, you're going to re-energize, refocus, and be re-presenced. And then the last thing you do is, you know, you gotta you got to review your day. We all review our day. I remember I used to review my day. I used to be one of those guys that try to have 25 things on a to-do list. And I'm never going to do 25 things a day, but I was always looking for 26 because that means I was productive.
Better.
And then what happens is I look at that list and I get into overwhelm and frustration. I do some stuff well, some stuff, small amount, and then the rest of the stuff I do half-ass, okay? And so I'm always beating myself up. And most people, when they review their day, beat themselves up. They focus on what they didn't do, as opposed to what you did do. Right. And so I teach you to focus into highlights and insights. A highlight is something you've done really well. Now, if you're going to do 3 things a day that you're good at, and let your team do the rest, or however you delegate, then you're going to certainly get to your chief aim. But the highlight is something that empowers you, because when you acknowledge yourself and you acknowledge your successes, even if you made a smoothie today, that's a success, okay? Then what happens is the more you can think about it that way, the more you're going to want to have highlights. And an insight is something that you simply just want to make a highlight. And so it's really a simple idea of at the end of your day, looking back. You know, if you ever read the book Power of Now, great book, you know, Eckhart talks about witnessing, okay? So you get back, just witness yourself, witness what you're doing. And then if you could just look back at your day and just get into those really juicy moments, all right, and want more of those, then what happens is, as we've been talking, you start doing more of them, you start repeating the behavior, you start practicing at it more, you start mastering at it more, and it becomes ingrained. And then all of a sudden, it becomes part of your routine.
And then you
nothing else matters.
Right. Well, then you answer gratitude.
Absolutely. Which you should start every day with gratitude.
Yeah. And end every day.
And end your day
for the good and for the bad. Because like we talked about before, it's the bad that helps you get to the good and helps you appreciate the good. You can't have good without bad.
Absolutely.
And it's about balance. So if you're in gratitude and you appreciate the little things, whether they're good or they're bad, and see them for what they are, and like you said, find the highlights and the insights of what happened throughout the day, and then use those as
to
leverage
create a better tomorrow.
Absolutely.
To make a better, tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You're in good shape. I think these are amazing tools to to live your life in 2014 and beyond.
Absolutely.
That's the base ground. I mean, really.
You know, I mean, the first step in any journey is the hardest.
Yeah.
And once you take the first one, just the rest will come naturally. And never get caught up with the whole idea of I can't do it. The truth of the matter is, every time you have an idea, we all have ideas. I break them down into 3 parts. Here's your idea, right here, and here's your result, all right, your desired outcome. Okay, the stuff in the middle here, okay, is the most important part of anything, because you'll come up with an idea, and most people will say to themselves, oh, I can't do that, and you'll never do it. And it'll always nag at you. Because whatever happens is your subconscious is imprinted with everything that happens in your life. And so you'll always think about not doing it, and it'll affect everything else you do in your life. But if you ask yourself the simple question, so you got this great big idea, oh my God, it's game-changing, which it should be, by the way, because you should think big. Just ask yourself, what do I need to do to make it happen? And if you ask yourself, what do I need to do to make it happen, then you know what? You're going to start to find the resources. What you seek is going to begin to start seeking you, and you're going to be in more of a motivated, empowered mindset. And so, I do that all the time. So, hey, I want to change my something about my health routine. What do I need to do to make it happen? What do? I call these guys. Okay, because they know more than I do. Okay, they're smarter than I am. So I hang out with smart people, which is what you need to do.
And you start attracting those types of people. Once you have a certain mindset, it's kind of what The Secret's about, but it's not about just sitting and thinking about one thing and then suddenly it shows up. It's about becoming the person that attracts those things.
Absolutely.
And brings them closer to you. So automatically, suddenly you'll find these crazy synchronicities of like, oh my God, I was thinking about being healthy, and all of a sudden this guy came into my life and told me how to make a smoothie.
Absolutely.
And you start to witness these synchronicities happen because you're living in gratitude. You're becoming a magnet to those things. The next thing you know, you're living the life that you're born to live. And
but it's not even synchronicities. I think all those things are always there for you, available. You just chose not to see them.
You chose exactly.
So as soon as you get out of your own way, you will be on your way.
Absolutely.
So how many of you actually still have a goal that you have set up for yourself in 2011 or 2012 and it's still on the list? I want you to think about it, because I know I still have one goal from 2012. It's only one left, but I still have that. So what happens is, obviously what you've been doing is not getting you there. So what are the changes that you need to make in order to get where you need to be, right? So decide today, sit down, what it is, what do you need to let go, what do you need to move forward, and put it out there, really. Talk to your friends, talk to your family. I mean, sometimes you don't know where the insight is coming from, and you not talking about it, you're missing some valuable information.
And use the tools that we taught. So if you go back, after we close this out, I want you to go back and listen to it again and take some notes, because what we shared, it's easy to miss a lot of this stuff. Take some notes, go back to it, find some 1 or 2 takeaways that you can use and leverage every single day.
Really, right away.
and then go back, and we invite you to check out Sculptations, because like we said before, the tools are what help guide you to your goals.
Absolutely.
And ultimately the success and what you want in your life.
Right, in any area of your life. I mean, the big ones are what, wealth creation, increasing your business, your health and fitness, relationships, spiritual growth, personal development. Oksana said a great thing. There's a great exercise you can do about, getting things out of your life, getting things out of your way, if you will. It's like, a great master. I have this platform. It's called Sculpting Your Life, which all these things come out of. And I created it because I was looking at, I was in Italy actually, and I was looking at the David, and I kind of realized that, how did that happen? How did that happen? This amazing, magnificent masterpiece. And basically, Michelangelo looked at the block of granite, and he decided to take away everything that was in the way of David. And so what you're doing every day when you get up is you're sculpting a masterpiece known as you. So what do you got to do to get out of your way? So here's a really simple exercise, and Oksana touched on it. Okay, so get a piece of paper, okay? Piece of paper. Don't do it on your piece of paper, okay, because you're going to refer back to this. And write down all the things that you want this year, okay, on the left-hand column. Okay, write down then why you want them in the next column.
Which is very important.
Okay. Then in the next column, write down what you need to let go of in order to have it, to have that. And if you can do that simple exercise, what's going to happen is you're going to let go of all the things that are in your way, the stuff that you think you believe that's not anything the truth about who you are, and you're going to focus in on, like Larry talked about, where you place your attention on the stuff that you want in your life, and then everything, the divine moment, the universe is going to start to bring that to you because you're in the energy of it.
And you got room now to fill in with the new stuff.
Absolutely.
And it's going to take work. There's a brilliant book called The War of Art, and not the art of war, the war of art. And it goes into the work that needs to be done. So you're battling entropy, right? And you have to start. It's like that first step into getting what you want or getting towards the goal. That's the hardest. And once you do it and you build that momentum and until it's going, then all of a sudden the divine things that you want to happen automatically, and it just falls into place. But it's that first bit of just that fighting that entropy to get through it.
But we always say, oh my God, it's so hard. But when you actually do it, you're like, oh, well, that was easy.
It wasn't that hard.
It wasn't that hard. Yeah, and then everything you just realize, keep doing this, keep going. You're like, oh, this is actually not as hard or as bad as I thought it is.
Not. They say it takes,
and it brings you joy and gets you where you want to be. So
they say it takes
stop wasting time.
21 days to break a habit, right?
Or
and by the way, when we interrupt each other, that's because we like each other, so it's okay.
It's okay.
About it. But it's 21 days to create a habit. That's what science has said. The truth of the matter is, you can create a new habit within 7 days if you truly are dedicated, determined, and disciplined. The 3 Ds: dedicated, determined, disciplined. You can change anything in your life. And I know you've done it already. Just think back about something that you just really didn't want to do anymore in your life and replaced it with this new behavior. You made it happen like that. And so you just gotta, like Larry says, it takes work, but it doesn't have to be hard work. It could be joyful work. Just think about it as this: you're changing your life so that you can live the life or sculpt the ideal life that you dream about. And if you can kind of go on those lines, then what you're going to do is you're going to just be happy about everything that you're doing, even the stuff that might not be showing up the way you want it to, because that's going to happen. But don't worry about it. Okay?
And even if you only get halfway, trust me, it's a long way. Because you're already halfway closer to where you want to be. So do not beat yourself up for not doing something. We all got our breaks and pauses in life that we need to take care of, which is fine. But as soon as you know why you're doing stuff that you're doing, you know the end result, you will get there eventually.
Absolutely.
No question about it.
So on this note, I think, yes, we want to really
so grateful for your work and for joining us today. And
I love you, bro.
I love you too, man.
And I love you, my dear.
Yes.
Two amazing people. I know you guys already know that because you follow them, but you know, they've made a marked difference in my life, and they will continue to do so because, again, as I said earlier, I hang around people that are smarter than me, who have such amazing consciousness, and you know that's a big step for you guys too out there. And there's nothing you can't have. You know, there's nothing you can't have if you're willing to take the time, the effort, and the belief in yourself to make it happen.
So true.
Yes,
So
thank you for your amazing work.
Yeah. So make 2014 a kick-ass year, and in the comments below, give us a nugget or two that you took away from this video so you can help other people and yourself and take action. Make it happen, engage the flow, and make 2014 and beyond amazing and beautiful, and live the life you were born to live.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Paul.
Much blessings, everybody.
Yeah.
Good luck with everything. Feel free to also comment your goals so we can all hold you accountable.